Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are from Group 2. Today we would like to present about the impact of pedagogical materials on critical language awareness, assessing student attention to patterns of language use. The first material will be explained by Atika.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. Now we would like to explain about, I would like to explain about the introduction. Next slide, please. Okay, this chapter reports on the exploratory qualitative study based on foreign language program that develop an online curriculum featuring linguistic hybriding and bilingualism. In addition to bilingual speakers, the new materials also included a much wider range of proficiencies than what is typically found in commercially produced material, from fluent bilingual to so-called incipient bilingual. The material explicitly contrasted two groups of bilingual speakers in a series of videos. First is native European French speakers living in the United States, and the second, American students just beginning to learn French. All native French speakers had lived in the United States for many years, were married to an allophone spouse, and had achieved a superior level of proficiency in English. In contrast, the American student possesses variable levels of French proficiency, from novice to intermediate. Their frequent grammatical mistakes and communicative difficulties were captured on the videos and become part of the input for learners. Next slide, please. Okay, next is re-examining the ban of first language use from classroom to textbooks. Throughout the 1990s, scholars examined the consequences of the myth of the idealized educated native speaker for applied linguistic research, not only challenging the identity, but also the authority of the native speaker. This line of research analyzed student-student and student-teachers interaction in an effort to discern the cognitive and achieve benefits of the first language. For example, increase learner efficiency and attention, improve interpersonal interaction, more positive attitude toward language learning, etc. Despite interest in classroom language, the language used in pedagogical material receive much less attention. These studies typically show that textbook overrepresentative certain social group. That is, educated speaker of the prestige dialects, for example, bourgeois Parisian and wealthy Madrilenos. Next slide will be explained by my partner.
Okay, thank you. Now I will explain. Next slide, please. Sorry, next slide, please. Okay, now I will explain about Francais interactive from monolingual to multilingual role models. In 2004, the lower division French program at the University of Texas at Austin launched a curriculum that sought to reframe the first-year French course in the term of bilingualism. The new online curriculum, entitled Francais Interactive, focused on the subjective language learning experiences of a group of actual students enrolled at the University of Texas during their study abroad program in Lyon, France. In essence, this real-life study abroad Students serve as virtual tour guides, assisting students back home who watch the videos in their classrooms and homes. In the videos, the study abroad students speak in a mixture of French and English, communicating as best as they can, or uh, they speak in multilingual. So this is the di differences between monolingual and multilingual. Monolingual is speak in only one language, and multilingual is able to speak more than two languages. And as a student, we have to speak in multilingual or speak more than two language. Uh, it has, because in multilingual, it has some benefits or the advantage. The first benefit is you have more career prospects available to you because of multilingualism, because in company nowadays, it's preferred to find a worker who can speak more than one language or like to speak English or Mandarin. And then multilingualism improves a person's working memory. People who can speak multiple language also tell more friends who compared to single language students in monolingual students. When you communicate with more people fluently, then there is a corresponding rise in the number of conversations and third is learning one new language make it easier to learn more language. People who can speak more than one language, it will be more productive than people who speak only one language or monolingual. Multilingualism also promotes supertasking, which is a form of multitasking that allows people to switch from task to task without delays. And the last benefit is you can travel with more confidence because you understand what people around you saying. For example, when you travel to America or Australia, you will understand what the local people are saying. Like when you ordering the food in restaurant or asking directions to local people there, and it will be much easier when you can speak English or speak more than one language than you trying to use Google Translate. Next slide, please. Okay, this is slide about affordance and projective identities. While the pedagogical materials contain no mention of switching, lexical borrowing, and grammatical transfer, such bilingual phenomena are present throughout the videos for students to notice and analyze. In this part, it has two questions. First is, do students even notice such a language behavior? And second question, and if so, does this affect whether they identify with some speaker and not others? And the answer for this question are central to this question are three psychological constructs: affordance, virtual identity, and projective identity. The notion as affordance is also related to the concepts of virtual and projective identities. Recall that the developers of Francais Interactive intended for classroom learners to identify with the study abroad students caught on video, the so-called virtual tour guides, who explored the foreign language and culture for the students back home. Identity principle, a formal statement of classroom learning as a process of identity construction, entailing three separate yet related identities: the learner's real-life identity, the virtual identity, and the projective identity. Okay, that's all about my material. And next slide will be present by partner.
Okay. Now we will talk about the identity principle. Learning involves taking on and playing with identities in such a way that the learner has a real choices in developing the virtual identity. The ample uh, opportunity to meditate in the relationship between new identities and old ones based on G 2003. Here is a three-parted play of identities as learners relate and reflect on. There are multiple real-world identities, a virtual identity, and a projective identity. James G. defines identity as being recognized as a certain kind of person in a given context. G talked of identity differences based on social and cultural views of identity and identifies four of these views, each of which are influenced by different forms of power. So they all have an effect on one another. G describes them as four ways to formulate questions about how identity is functioning for a specific person, child or adult, in a given context or across a set of contexts. The first of G identity perspective is what he called the nature perspective or an identities. An identity uh, represent an identity people cannot control, one that comes from force of nature. And the second perspective is institutional perspective or I identities. Refers to identities set by authorities within institutions. And the third perspective G identifies is the discursive perspective or D identities. D identity refers an individual trait such as caring. And the final identity perspective G identifies is the affinity perspective or A identities. A identities are built by share experience as a part of an affinity group, which according to G's definition is a group that share allegiance to access to and participation in specific practice. Okay, next slide. It's a overview of Franchise Interactive. Franchise Interactive is built uh, around various cognitive tasks that language teachers commonly want their students to perform. For example, identifying the members of one family and etc. The developers videotape native and non-native speakers performing this task uh, and inventory the vocabulary and grammar used to perform the task. These inventories became the basis for 19 chapters with a different themes. For instance, chapter 9 focused on current event in the context of French media, newspapers, radio, internet, television, cinema, and so on. The next slide will be presented by my friend.
Thank you. The next is research method. The methodology for this study consisted of an immediate recall protocol followed by a guided interview to investigate learner awareness of code mixing, performing a typical pedagogical task that requires students to fill out the form with the correct information. The protocols were tape recorded for later transcription and analysis. Next slide. Will be explained by my partner.
Okay, like what Galuh have mentioned before, here are the results of immediate recall protocols taught about comprehensibility. The participants there are 11 participants. 2 participants made no metalinguistic comments at all during their recall protocols, and the other 9 participants made frequent metalinguistic comments. And this recall protocol focuses on 2 major topics. First, the comprehensibility of the speaker's discourse, and the second, the speaker's linguistic proficiencies. Next slide, please. On the first, the comprehensibility of the speaker's discourse, participants noted that comprehensibility was affected by the rate of speech, like the familiarity of the reference, for example, American versus foreign reference. And the second, the accent, like in American versus accent in French. And then the third, the size and complexity of the vocabulary. The fourth, the length of the answer, the directness of the answer. And then the last, various structural properties of the answer. For example, whether the answer echoed the synthetic frame of the question. Next slide, please. Compared to native and non-native speakers, non-native speakers think that native speakers speak really fast so they have to listen it carefully, because native speakers sometimes give long answers and sometimes non-native speakers confused with the word choices. Meanwhile, when native speakers can easily understand the non-native speakers' talk, because they usually use simple words, short answer, and talk slower than native speaker. Thoughts about linguistic proficiency. Participants frequently compared the comprehensibility of both native and non-native speaker. Only compared non-native speaker in terms of their proficiency. Next slide, please. According to G's identity principle, the learner's new projective identity is based on relevant virtual identities. In other words, students saw themselves in the virtual identities of the less proficient speaker, but were unable to themselves in native speakers whose linguistic identities prove less relevant. Next slide will be explained by my friend.
Okay, I will explain about the use of English. Okay, here there are 11 participants, and then 2 of them said to Karen's video, they said that the use of English was judged negatively, and then it was attributed to Karen's lack of vocabulary. These these two comments from participant who are non-native speaker, and then for use of English during the summative interview, all 11 participants note Karen's frequent use of English. Next slide, please. And then for the thought about the task, in general response from all participants, it appears that most participants were preoccupied with managing the task. Like the seventh participant said that thinking about how much information is appropriate as well as where to write the information on the page. And then the eighth participant recalled cheating, that is relying on the written text instead of listening. The participant for the ninth and 10th participant said that the strategy of reading rather than listening is revealed to be the typical way that some students perform this task as part of their homework routine. In next slide will be explained by my friend.
Okay, the next material is about thoughts about personality and effect of interviewees. Many participants report thinking about the personalities and attributes of the interviewees. These thoughts were often triggered by the interviewees' responses to the questions, but participants' thoughts were also the results of the interviewees' appearance or affect. The next one is the results of the summative interviews. The overall goal of the summative interviews was to ascertain whether participants had noticed the use of English in the videos, even if they had not mentioned such usage during recall protocols. In addition, the summative interviews attempted to gauge reactions to the range of bilingual proficiencies as represented in the pedagogical materials. And finally, participants were asked to speculate about the reasons for including non-native speakers in a beginning French course. The next one is the use of English. In contrast to the results of the recall protocols where few participants noted the use of English, all 11 participants readily acknowledged that they had noticed the use of English by the students during the interviews. Participants interpreted this behavior as the students' efforts to compensate for a lack of linguistic knowledge. While such behavior drew sympathy, it also drew universal criticism. In contrast, the participants rarely mentioned the use of English by native French speakers. In addition, participants were either neutral about the practice or slightly positive. Two participants claimed to have noticed no instance of English by the native French speakers. In 14, after some questioning, the participant acknowledged to the investigator of the study that she is aware that the French speakers sometimes use English. She attributes this awareness to her instructor, who had recently brought to the students' attention the French speakers' errors. According to her instructor, these errors were the likely result of prolonged English influence. From the interview, the American students sometimes use English words when they don't know what the French translation is, and the interviewer sometimes translates it or sometimes just leave it as English. Next material will be explained by Anissa.
Okay, thank you. I will continue a little bit about Jasmine's explanation before. And for the next, here is the conversation between participant and the investigator about the use of English. So we can see the dialogue from that the investigator and the participant 11. In brief, the investigator notes that the participant makes no mention of the English used by native French speakers. And then the investigator asks the participant why she does not seem to be as aware of the use of English by the native French speakers, and why she doesn't know about or why she doesn't know about the use of English by native French speakers. And the participant said that it is regionalized her lack of awareness as a reflection of her lack of knowledge of native French. So she knows about the lack of knowledge of native French speakers in general. For next slide, please. Yeah, okay. And from the participant number 4, it also we can see the dialogue from the investigator and the participant. So in brief, while the participant view the use of English by the American students as a clear sign of linguistic deficiency, for example, like cheating, most participants did not evaluate the use of English by the French speakers, and a few participants went so far as to interpret such behavior as evidence for balanced bilingualism. For example, in that dialogue, a participant expresses a very positive reaction to English used by French native. Next slide, please. And then we will talk about reaction to non-native speakers in pedagogical materials. And for the reaction, the same participant will criticize the American students for using English during the interviews, often praise the videos for including samples of authentic language. It would appear that the learners' evaluation of the use of English depended largely on how the question was from. Many participants praised the videos because they presented learners in real-life situations. However, there might critic of the use of English by American students. All the participants expressed overwhelming support for the inclusion of non-native speakers in the materials. And then here we have one example for the question for the participants. The investigator asks, do you like having non-native speakers? And then the speakers, I'm sorry, Jasmine, still previous slide. Yes. And then the speakers answer with, yeah, she does. She thinks it is instructive. They speak slower, and they get it right. And it also shows because they are on the hot seat with the video camera, so they have to negotiate around words they don't know. So it's kind of like techniques that she may use to use. She may have to use or can learn from if she put in the similar situation. She also thinks that it is important to point out to students where the mistake comes from, the tell students this is how you would answer that question from that situation. So in that statement, the participant mentioned that the video present useful for communicating strategies such as circumlocution, and also to demonstrate the function of circumlocution. And then the participant can recount a personal anecdote of trying to communicate with Spanish speakers in Peru. I think that's all. The next explanation will be explained by my friend Indah Amalia. Thank you.
Okay, so I would like to continue Anisa's explanation. So the other participant For the first one is participant 1. According to the participants, the range of proficiencies represented in the videos help learners to determine more realistic goals for their achievement. So in 19, the participant mentioned that the material create a greater awareness of linguistic proficiency by facilitating the comparison of native and non-native speakers. So the participant give some explanation. The participant think it's a good balance, and he think that you get the whole spectrum. So what the different sounds like are, the different speeds, and then the level. The participant also think it was good because it kind of have what you know and an example of what, where you are at, or maybe gonna be. Next slide, please. And then for the fourth participant is for in 20 and 21. So participants claim that watching non-native speaker often boosted their confidence, especially when the non-native made mistake or had to resort to English. So the 20 participant, she said whenever there was a mistake, she was like, oh, I knew that. Or whenever they throw in an English word, because they don't know the French, she was like, oh, I knew that word. And for the 21 participant, she said if you are listening to native speakers, they are going to be able to elaborate and say things because they don't use vocabulary that is out of her range. They also don't use sentence, structure, or grammar. That's something she doesn't know. So it gives her more confidence. Next slide, please. And then for participant 5, so several participants spoke about sympathizing with the non-native speaker and relating to them, having a close connection with them. So in 22, the participant imagines that the goal of the developers was to forge a connection between the learner and the non-native speaker. So the question is about what's the value of having a non-native speaker. So she thinks it would make the student associate themselves better, like identify themselves with the students better because they are in the same level, and where they are at, they are just beginning to learning the French language. Next slide, please. And participant 9, in 23, the participant underscores the importance of making sure that the non-native error is explicitly corrected in the transcript. So in 23, when he see them make mistakes, he think it helps to teach him that these are mistakes that he could make and to correct them. But it doesn't bother him. And for participant 7 in 24, the participant points out that the instructor's oral input and the text written input are largely error-free. So the implication is clear. When the majority of the input is native-like and grammatical, a few non-native error is nothing to worry about. And the participant don't feel like the instructor is bad. Okay, for the next material will be explained by Aulia Gusti.
Okay, next is discussion. So this research was carried out on the question of whether French students paid attention to the use of English in pedagogical material until the final research question concerning the participants' opinions and feelings about the value of non-native speakers in pedagogical materials was conclusively answered. All the participants strongly agreed that videos of non-native speakers prove highly instructive. The most common benefits cited were a greater awareness of communications strategies such as circumlocations and a greater awareness of common learner errors. Participants also mentioned that the videos gave them a more realistic picture of second language acquisitions and helped them gauge their own language development. Next slide, please. Okay, the last is conclusions. The use of non-native speakers and the representations of code choice in pedagogical materials is certainly a research domain that has yet to be explored by applied linguists. Based on a relatively small self-selecting sample, the generalizability of this study is admittedly somewhat problematic. It is hoped that future studies will be based on larger, more representative sample and will examine the relevant linguistic phenomena more rigorously. Example like intersentential code switching, intrasentential code cultural borrowings, phonologically integrated loanwords, and etc. Despite the limitations of the present study, the results suggest that beginning learners readily agree on the value of including multilingual speakers in second language materials. In turn, these findings suggest a provocative new hypothesis for future research. The virtual identities of non-native speakers as represented in pedagogical material may prove more relevant for the constructions of a learner's project identity than those of native speakers. Okay, back to moderator.
I think that's all from our group explanation. And now we would like to open question and answer section. If you have any question, unmute your mic, mention your name and your last 2 digits student number. Also your question.
Trisan, please.
Indatriana, please.
Yes, Trisan first.
Okay, thank you for the chance. My name is Trisan and my last 2-digit number is 60. So my question is, why language used in pedagogical materials received much less attention? Thank you.
Indatriana, please.
Indah.
Thank you for the chance, moderator. My name is Indatriana. My number is 38. My question is, you mentioned that the American students who just begin to learn French at some point would use English words when they don't know what the French translation is. Does this also usually happen to Indonesian who just begin to learn English or another language? Thank you.
Is there any more question?
Fanny, please.
Yes, Fanny.
I am Fanny Tivano and my last 2 digit of student number is 11. My question is, can you please give 3 references of different examples of videos that can distinguish the voice of native speaker and non-native speakers? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the question.
And now we would like to answer the question.
Okay, I would like to answer Trisan's question. Why language used in pedagogical material receive much less attention? Actually, this is not to say that the re-examination of the native speaker construct and the ideology of monolingualism has no consequences for textbooks. In fact, throughout the 1990s, scholars criticized textbooks for presenting idealized version of the foreign language and culture that unwittingly reinforce stereotypes. Did I answer your question, Trisa?
Yes, thank you, Atika.
Thank you.
Okay, I will answer Indah Triana's question. Does Indonesian who just begin to learn English or another language also usually use Indonesian words when they don't know the translations? I think yes, mostly people who just learn a new language, they usually start from the very simple words, and they sometimes just translate it words by words, and they also sometimes slip their native language words. So I think it also applies to Indonesian. Did I answer your question, Datriana?
Yes, thank you, Jasmine.
Okay.
Okay, now I will answer the funny question. That is, can you please give 3 references of different example of videos that can distinguish the voice of native speakers and non-native speakers? So there are 3 different kind of videos that feature the voice of the native and non-native French speakers. The first one is introductory video, that each chapter begins with a short video of a student in French who presents the chapter's thematic and grammatical materials. The second one is vocabulary presentation videos. These videos present vocabulary items in authentic cultural context to make this context more accessible for beginners. The videos aim at surmising the redundancy between the visual image and the spoken language. And the last one is video interviews. For example, 4 native French speakers and 3 non-native French speakers or American students were interviewed discussing the themes of each chapter. In these unscripted interviews, speakers respond to questions that require them to employ the grammar and vocabulary features in the chapter. These videos are accompanied by an online transcript of the French and English translation. So that's the example.
Okay, thank you, Astrid.
Okay, thank you for the question, and I think that's all from our group. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.